finally for this episode is Master of Darkness. Like Transbot, this came with my Master System when I bought it in 2012. I only tried it out once back then for a little bit but don't really remember how it went. Set 100 years ago from the game's release during the Jack the Ripper murders, a psychologist named Ferdinand Social gets a message from his Ouija board on the night of the full moon. The message is, "Kill a vampire, go to Thames, caution, caution in the wake of Dracula." No punctuation in this message. Sloppy. When I start the game I get another cutscene. Apparently in this history Jack the Ripper only killed on a full moon. Not just that, but all blood is drained from the victims' bodies, so Jack the Ripper might also be Dracula. Only now that it might be supernatural, Dr. Social gets involved in the investigation. Regular murderers aren't important enough for his attention, it seems. That's when he gets that message and sets off to the Thames. Round 1, Thames River. So one thing you'll see looking at the game, the HUD and how Ferdinand moves is that this game is a blatant clone of Castlevania, right down to having Dracula as the antagonist, sorta. Not a bad thing as long as the game's still fun. Instead of a whip I start off with a crappy short knife, but one change I like over Castlevania is I can change directions mid-jump to aim where I land. Also, being on the Master System 6 years after the first Castlevania, it looks nicer. As you'd expect, we have bats as enemies. We also have dudes in full suits and top hats. Here I break open a floating opera mask, basically just the candles from Castlevania, to find a hammer. It's an upgrade of the knife, giving my attack much more range. There's also dogs. Despite having all the time in the world, I just never think to crouch and let it hit me. I can get healing potions from the masks too. Stairs work exactly the same as they do in Castlevania 2. After going down them I move on to the next screen. I don't want to keep making the comparisons to Castlevania because that would get old very fast, but this is a Castlevania-ass screen right here. It's here I learned that Supermen can attack by shooting, but before now they were never on screen long enough to do it. A lot of the masks just have little orbs in them that give points. Boring. I climb up to the next screen where, before I go back outside, I get my first sub-weapon. No holy water like Dr. Social, he just gets a pistol with 16 bullets. Yeah, the dogs can take a bullet to the face and shrug it off. I cross the bridge and go down the stairs to the next screen. Next screen I ride a canoe that's smaller than I am to a door leading back outside. Here I pick up the next sub-weapon, a bomb. These are utter crap. They're thrown in the most ridiculous arc, so trying to aim anything would be impossible. I then ride a canoe to the end of the stage. Now for round 1, stage 2. I get off the canoe where we now have zombies trying to get me. I also get another weapon, a rapier. This is a downgrade from the hammer though, as it has the same range but is a little weaker. The zombies that died in one hit from the hammer die in 2 from the sword. This is an aspect I don't like, being able to just have your weapon downgraded from picking up items. I go on a very long canoe ride, missing loads of masks I could have gotten if I'd taken the top route. A second canoe takes me to the stairs leading to the next screen. The next 2 screens are just more climbing upstairs. Back outside now and I cross the bridge to finish this stage. Stage 3 and I'm still on the bridge. Here I break a new weapon out of a mask but the man in my way takes too long to die and it disappears. After that I get a couple witches flying at me. If they miss they can't course correct and just keep going off screen. Then just to be a dick, a mask gives me back my crappy knife. Dogs can shrug off at least 2 stabbings to the head with it. At the end of the screen I go down some stairs. On the next screen I can finally get the axe I missed. It has the same range as the knife, but it's the strongest weapon in the game. The only downside is the attack animation has a slight wind up which makes it a tiny bit slower. But then the very next dickhead mask drops a knife back on me again. I go up these rows of platforms, finally finding a use for the bombs I take out the enemies on the upper levels. Just before the stairs at the end I get another axe. Once again the stairs take me back outside where I find another sub-weapon, the boomerang. I shouldn't have to explain what it does, but how does a boomerang have ammo? To the right is another screen inside a building filled with barrels. I go up more stairs to another screen where a mask drops a diamond that wipes out all enemies on screen. To make up for that kindness, the next mask takes my axe and gives me the knife again. I stay along the top of the screen and keep heading right until I exit the building. Jack the Ripper shows up, talking like a pirate and starts the first boss battle. He simply jumps around slashing with his sword. I mostly keep my distance throwing boomerangs at him since he has the better melee weapon thanks to that dickhead mask. As I run out, I do start to get the timing for stabbing him without him hitting me back. And I finish him off with a stab in the arse that makes him explode a lot. Round 1 complete. Turns out Jack the Ripper was working for Dracula all along. Dracula then just dares Dr. Social to go to the House of Wax. It implies that Jack the Ripper was a waxwork he brought to life. So round 2, the House of Wax Dolls. This looks more like a cave than a house, but whatever. Some of the waxworks in the background will actually come to life and attack me. It's the same ones every time, so if you die you know what's coming. I get my hammer back from the first mask. At the end of the screen is some stairs going to the next. Now this looks like a house. The mask downgrades my hammer to the sword. They've also got the Mona Lisa here. This is a short screen and I keep going right to the next one. The wall closes behind me and waxworks will keep appearing to rush me. Once I kill them all, the floor starts crumbling, dropping me into a room with 2 men, 2 bats, and more spawning waxworks. I stay in the corner and kill a few, but one gets through and kills me. Back to the beginning of the level. Next time I kill all enemies in that room and the floor crumbles again. I then fall right through the next screen and into another. A lot of bats and men with guns in here. Good thing there's a diamond right before the end of the stage. Still underground at the beginning of stage 2 where a witch thinks she can surprise me. Got some blocks that fall into the pit as I stand on them to jump across. I get to the end but an arsehole bat flies into me and cancels my jump, so I fall into the pit and die. Of course, dying reverts me back to the knife. I die the same way next time, getting my first game over. I haven't limited continues, but it does put me back to the beginning of the round. I get back there with all my lives. I also make that jump first try so I can climb the stairs to the next screen. On this screen we have knives flying about and chairs jumping around. Paintings and tables too. On the first screen I thought these huge white things hanging from the ceiling were pipes. I think they're supposed to be curtains. The next screen is another one where the wall closes behind me and I have to fight a load of enemies. Also, Dracula is in the counterfeiting business too, as can be seen by his second Mona Lisa here. This time when the enemies die, the other wall opens up on the right. Next screen just has me going up a couple stairs. Next screen I go left, passing the same enemies I fought before, and Dracula's third Mona Lisa. Next room is another enemy rush where they're dropping possessed furniture on me. Their patterns are harder to deal with than the waxworks, and I die when a portrait hits me in the back of the head. Next time I kill all of them on my last bit of life, it can keep going left. Another screen with 2 sets of stairs, and I'm killed by another painting right at the beginning of the next. Next time I get back there with more health, I manage to get another hammer just before reaching the end of the stage. Stage 3 starts with a guy walking right up to me and a couple knives flying around. I also get an axe from the first mask. Dracula has a fourth Mona Lisa. This screen leads outside where I jump off the balcony and land on a roof. I keep jumping across rooftops as enemies jump from below into me. I reach the end of the screen and on the next I'm climbing many stairs up a tower. At the top I jump onto another balcony and go back inside. More possessed furniture and a fifth Mona Lisa. A mask drops a knife so I wait for it to disappear, but even after it's gone, the asshole's collision remains so I still end up with it replacing my axe. That's 2 levels in a row that put the knife right before the boss. In the next room a curtain rises to reveal a woman who has a flying skull come out of her. It just spins around the screen hoping to bump into me. I just have to avoid it and hit when I can. The bombs are actually a little useful here for when it's right above me. Sometimes I'll enter the woman only to leave and start spinning again. This is a really long fight that would have gone much shorter if that selfish knife didn't force itself on me. I take out all of its health so it explodes, making the woman collapse too. Round 2 complete. Before she passes out, the psychic woman simply tells Dr. Social the cemetery east of town. He has no idea what that warning means, so he just rushes there. Round 3, Epitaph. And here's another way Master of Darkness blatantly steals from the first Castlevania. The third level has the best music. Got zombies rising from the ground and Ferdinand here can't just walk past the gravestone, he has to jump over them all. I get another hammer on this screen before I enter a building and make my way to the exit on the right. Next I have loads of stairs to climb up to a bell tower. Then on the opposite end of the room I have to climb down. There's some platforms need to trick you, but you just have to drop from the stairs and steer yourself past the spikes. Then at the bottom I go right, which leads outside. Here I get a bit confused because I can't walk right past these graves. There's a set of stairs blending in with the dirt on the ground. I go down the stairs and through the exit on the left, but there's nothing in this room so I go back. At the right end of the screen I have to break through the wall to finish the stage. Right away in stage 2 there's these big skeletons with swords. Just have to go down some more stairs close to where I start. On the next screen I turn down an axe because I'm more confident with the hammer's range. Just get to the other end and go up some more stairs, then some more on the next screen and go right. Then I just jump one gap to get to the stairs of the next screen. Once again I can ignore most things on this screen and climb to the next. I don't know how to cross this gap safely so I just jump on the spikes and blink my way to safety. From there I climb up to the top set of platforms and jump across to the end of the stage. Stage 3 now and there's wizards who cast spells that fly in a straight line. These aren't stopped when they touch platforms, they keep going. This first screen is just jumping across a load of blocks while skeletons and wizards are all over. Next screen has a huge swinging pendulum I have to jump on and ride across to the stairs to the next screen. Back in Castlevania's territory now with a clock tower. Just got to climb to the top of the screen, drop down, walk to the right and find that the next screen is walled off so I have to go back to the previous screen and go down the stairs at the end. But then I get an idea. I go back to the wall, jump on the pendulum as it swings through and then jump through the ceiling, believing I skipped who knows how many screens. Gotta say, I was pretty proud figuring it out by myself. I got too clever for my own good though and failed the jump in the stairs, dying and getting the game over. Back to 3-1. I decide to just do it properly when I get back. But it turns out that screen is a dead end and I had the right idea the first time. I wasn't doing a cool sequence break, I just fucked it up. I make the jump from the pendulum and climb up the next few screens, including one with another pendulum, until I'm back outside. Dickhead Mask gives me the knife just before the boss again. I follow some wizards who jump off the balcony, so I do too. However, I keep my momentum changing screens and land in the tiniest hole on the edge of the screen and die. No mid-stage checkpoint, so I gotta do it all again. On the way back I lose my next life nudging some spikes. I get back next time and this time I just walk off the edge. I land on the clock hands and meet Count Masson, who shows up looking like M. Bison. He flies in a circle around the screen shooting fireballs at me. Just have to avoid them and time your attack right. At one point he swaps out spinning for trying to run me through with his sword, but it takes so long before and after these attacks I can get so much damage on him. If he kept flying in circles, I wouldn't have had the health to beat him, but instead he just gave up and let me win. That's round 3 complete. Apparently Count Masson lived in an old castle away from civilization and studied the black arts. Dr. Social is beginning to piece things together, Count Masson is behind everything, and rushes to the castle. This starts round 4, Laboratory. I start in the forest outside the castle. As is standard for 8-bit 2D action platforms of the time, we have arsehole eagles that dive bomb me. These are slightly easier to avoid than the ones in Castlevania and Ninja Gaiden though. At the far right of the screen I take the stairs down, I then drop down to the floor on the screen and move right to the next. Hidden in the wall here I find the final sub-weapon, the stake. I then accidentally discover a shortcut by breaking through the wall on the right side. This screen is just more stairs. Going up them takes me back outside. I have to figure out which of these blocks can be broken to create the path to the next screen, but an eagle swoops by and takes my last life. I get back and work my way through the blocks which lead to the end of this stage. Stage 2 just starts me in front of some stairs to the next screen. On this one I have to walk to the other side to climb some stairs and walk back to the left to climb the stairs to the next screen. First mask on this screen has a very helpful diamond. Then it's more stair climbing to the end of the screen. This is another screen like the one in the House of Wax where enemies just keep spawning in, but now it's a much harder room to safely navigate with stairs and spikes and pits everywhere. It goes on forever too until I realise there's a witch in the bottom who isn't moving. So I head on down and kill her, which stops it and creates the stairs to the next screen. This one is just a simple walk to the right with enemies on the way. It's another room spawning endless enemies, but this time the source is a portrait hidden behind some walls. I try to get to it only to be killed by a chair. Next time I get there with more health, climb to the corner and smash away the wall to kill the portrait and open a wall on the top of the screen. This leads to another set of stairs going up. More stairs at the start of the next screen and go right to go down 2 more steps and keep moving right to another room with spawning enemies. The source is a candlestick in the middle, the easiest one to get to and kill. Walking through the wall it opens ends the stage. Stage 3 of the laboratory is the only one actually inside the laboratory. Go to the end of the screen and go down some stairs, then jump over some spikes and go down some more. We have weird electric balls circling this screen, but they do no damage when I make contact with them. They're meant to be used as platforms so I can reach the exit on the left. Next screen is small, just go down the stairs. Then 4 more sets of stairs in the next room. Next screen has more electric ball platforms to ride up to get to the next screen. Then it's more stairs. Followed by one long staircase with a little one to the next screen at the bottom. Now into a slightly flooded room taking out waxworks until I can drop to the bottom, and Arsehole Mask forces a knife on me right before the boss yet again. It's Count Masson once again. He throws a giant ball at the ground that then splits into 4 projectiles that move around the screen. Those balls then reform into him, giving me the chance to start stabbing him before he does it again. But with this shitty knife, it takes 4 stabs to fully empty one of his 8 life markers. That's 32 stabs, which will make for a long fight. But I still have stakes which do a whole marker's damage with 1 hit. Half of them get wasted on his post-damage invincibility, but he still ends up with more than half of his health gone, letting me stab the rest out of him. He calls on the power of Dracula just as round 4 ends. A light comes from his fingertip and suddenly Dr. Social finds himself in a cage. He keeps throwing himself against the door until it gives way. He isn't free yet because the cage was in a labyrinth. Round 5, in the wake of Dracula. I leave the cage, go up the stairs in front of me and get an axe. This place is a maze and I have to figure out the correct way to reach the end, so I take the stairs going up. I then stay on this side of the screen and go up the stairs again. I do the same with the next screen, but that loops me back to the screen I started on with the cage. So I head back up again and this time go over to the right side of the screen where I could go up or down once again. I choose up. I travel a little left and go up the stairs there. This takes me up the stairs that were going down on the previous screen. So when I go up again, I just go straight up from where I entered. I travel to the left side of the screen and go up only to end up back at the cage room again. I go up again and to the right and up again, where I die. Let's skip ahead to my successful attempt after my game over about 10 minutes later. Leave cage, go up. Go to right side of screen and go down. Stay on left side, go down. Go to left side, break blocks, dropping hole. Drop past one screen, then land on second. Drop down again to next screen. Do not pick up fucking knife. Go through exit on right. I come face to face with Count Masson yet again. He reveals we're not in England anymore. He teleported Ferdinand to Castle Dracula in Transylvania. For this fight, he floats up into the air and travels along the top of the screen shooting fireballs while bricks drop down towards me and wooden spikes come up from the ground. I have to jump on these falling bricks and use them as platforms to reach him. Good thing I saved up a lot of stakes so I can hit him without waiting for him to be near. Both the stakes and the axe deal an entire marker from his health, so I take him out in 8 hits. He won't concede just yet and calls on the power of dead souls. In this second phase, he creates 3 copies of himself that cycle off to the left. Only the real one can be harmed, so I just stay in place jumping and throwing stakes to guarantee I hit him. I get him down to 2 health markers incredibly quickly. Then he ditches the clones and goes back to his old habit of throwing fireballs and teleporting. It's too late to save him though, and I get those last 2 hits in with no trouble, finishing him off for real this time. We then get a text scroll. Social manages to escape the castle to find that he is in fact in Transylvania. He then just gets some directions back home. England is free from Dracula's curse for now, but the text says that his curse can't be fully lifted and he may still return. Master of Darkness is a fun game. It has some things I'd like more than Castlevania, but Castlevania is still the better game to me. I would actually recommend it to people who've played the classic Castlevanias to death and would like something new. It's a lot easier, so if you merely play them for the challenge, then maybe not. But if the real thing is too frustrating for you, this is a good, easier substitute for you to get the hang of them first. Although I should say, if you live outside PAL territories and don't do emulators, you'd have to buy it for the Game Gear since the Master System version was Europe exclusive. But yeah, good time. It's definitely more memorable than the Master System game from last episode.